child is struggling with this.
Right, right.
What do I do? And maybe there's a lot of guilt
Yes.
on parent.
Yeah.
But how do we turn this around
Yeah.
and start moving in the right direction?
Yeah. I want to start by saying to that parent that's out there, because I've been saying, it's on the parents, but it's also, we do the best that we can with what we have, right? And that's
Yeah.
all that we can do as parents. And so I say, don't allow any guilt or condemnation to set in, because again,
Mm,
it just takes root and doesn't create a safe space for you or your
yeah.
child. And so I say, pat yourself on the back first as just being a parent that can survive so many different things, right? And so I say
Exactly.
start there, because I think that matters. Is just
Oh,
saying to yourself that you are an amazing parent, even in the midst of when our children deal with trying things. Because no matter how hard we try, no matter how many tools we give them, the reality is our children are humans. They make their own decisions, even
yes.
from the littlest to the oldest.
Mm-hmm. They
They
do.
really make their own decisions, and it's not a reflection of us as a parent, right? A lot of times we
Mm.
feel that weight,
Amen.
that when our
Mm-hmm.
child runs away and throws a tantrum to looking at pornography, we blame ourselves, and that's not
Yeah.
always the case. Yes, we could change some things, but I just wanted to start out with that, to give yourself a pat on the
Mm.
back and say that you're doing the
True.
best that you can. And now,
Mm-hmm.
from now this point, what can you do to make a difference? Because I tell you, there is
Right.
hope. There is always
Mm.
hope. Because I know, for me, again, I share my story, but there is always hope, right? And don't lose
Mm-hmm.
hope. It takes some work, but there's hope to get out of these situations. So what I say, therapy is an amazing tool that a lot of times we don't always
Mm-hmm.
access or think about for our children, right?
Yeah.
And so I say that if you know that you have a child that is struggling with pornography, or that it comes out that they're dealing with it,
Mm-hmm.
again, putting these tools and parameters in place is like, that's a must.
Yeah.
That's like not a wait. You
Mm-hmm.
need to have those so that you can keep track and see what's being consumed,
Right.
and have those boundaries in place and be on one accord. And that doesn't mean they're not going to go against the grain, because a lot of times, especially if
Right.
it's an addiction or something that's really a struggle, that's not going to be a
Mm-hmm.
hard, just
Oh
because
yeah,
mom and
they
dad
just
said it,
can't say, "Oh,
right?
I'm going to stop now." Yes.
Yeah, right. But I say therapy is a huge thing, and I
Mm.
say, try to find a therapist that really deals with sexual addiction or pornography, because sometimes you'll get therapists that are great therapists, but they don't
Mm.
really know how to deal with that type of issue,
Right.
especially with
Yeah.
teenagers.
Mm-hmm.
And so I say find, and there are groups also. So I say
Mm-hmm.
do some research um, on groups. And a lot of times my husband and I will help families and stuff that really need some kind of consulting in
And I'm gonna
terms of,
bring up your website
okay,
too. It's
yes,
Ground
um,
Zero. Whoops, I have to fix that. Looks like I have a typo.
okay.
But
But realizing that you can't do it alone. I think
there we go.
I went, yes, thank you. You can find resources on there, and you can reach out to us as well. But I think one of the things a lot of families are dealing with, because of the shame attached to it, especially as a parent, it's
Mm,
one thing if your marriage is dealing with that's shame. But when you deal with your
yeah.
child dealing with it, again, we take
Mm-hmm.
on, oh, it's my fault. What did I not do? And so there's shame
Right.
attached to it. And so what I
Mm-hmm.
say is, don't let that keep you in silence or isolation. You're not meant to fight this alone. There are groups
Yeah.
for parents that have
Mm,
children that are addicted. There are groups for your child. And now, I mean, it's virtual on the phone. It doesn't even have to be
hmm.
in person. Um, but I Dr. Doug Weiss, and resources are on my site, but I also believe that on my the resource page, Dr.
Yeah, you
Doug
did
Weiss did. Yes.
put him on
So,
there. Mm-hmm.
yes. So his site has tons of resources for us as parents, for teenagers that are addicted, for women, children, like,
Mm,
because I know them. I mean, I know I'm talking about protecting your kids online, but I never know my audience. And so I like to say, whoever needs this help, right?
right,
There's resources for
exactly.
all of us. That
Mm-hmm.
resource page is not just for, because I was a partner of an addict. And so
Mm-hmm.
I know that those things, it could be more than just your children, right? And so there's
Right.
resources up there
Mm-hmm.
for more than just our children. But again, not being alone, therapy is a
Mm.
must. I don't let your kid just try to struggle with you and them. Do some family therapy. Get a plan
Right.
in
When
place
they realize
from